साउथ ईस्ट एशिया का ऐसा देश जिसकी पॉपुलैरिटी आज के समय में बढ़ती ही चली जा रही है। जी हाँ दोस्तों, थाईलैंड, इंडोनेशिया, मलेशिया के बाद आज के समय वियतनाम एक इंटरनेशनल हब बन चुका है। यहाँ पे आए दिन अलग अलग देशों से लोग आते हैं और यहाँ पर आके रहते हैं। कुछ आते हैं एडवेंचर के लिए, कुछ आते हैं काम करने के लिए और यहाँ पे बस जाते हैं। और क्या आपने सोचा है कि शायद आप भी उनमें से एक हो सकते हो? तो ऐसा क्या है वियतनाम में जो कि यहाँ पर लोग आके रहते हैं, काम करते हैं? आइए आज के इस वीडियो में हम पता लगाएंगे। नमस्कार दोस्तों, मैं हूँ राज सिंह और स्वागत है आप सभी लोगों का हमारे इस चैनल वॉन्डरिंग सोल में। अभी कोविड-19 का केस चल रहा है तो भैया हम ये मास्क हमारा लगा के हम घूम रहे हैं। चलिए फिलहाल तो हम चलते हैं और मिलते हैं किसी से। तो नमस्कार दोस्तों, हमारे साथ हमारे एक फॉरेनर भाई अभी जुड़ चुके हैं। आज इनसे हम बात करेंगे कि क्या ये भाई साहब करते हैं और यहाँ पर क्या कर रहे हैं। So hi, thank you for giving us your time.
It's okay.
So my viewers, they are in India
Okay.
mostly. So I'm going to be talking in my language and
Yeah.
trying to explain them what, you know.
My name is Andrew. I'm
Andrew.
from Australia.
Australia.
Yes.
Wow, from the kangaroos.
Yes. Lots of wildlife in Australia. Very unique wildlife in Australia. Yeah.
आपको बता दूं, ऑस्ट्रेलिया जो है कैंगारूज के लिए काफी फेमस है और ग्रेट व्हाइट शार्क्स के लिए भी काफी फेमस है।
Koalas.
Koalas, yes. What about the fire that happened recently?
There was more than one fire. There was several fires. Australia is covered in a lot of bushland. Bushland is forest, but we call it bushland. And when it burns very hot because the eucalyptus trees contain oil.
Yes.
So many hectares, thousands upon thousands of hectares burnt, and absolutely scorched earth. Australia is a very big country, so you could see the smoke. But if you weren't in those sort of areas, it didn't really affect you because Australia is very vast. Like I'm talking as big as Asia. So very, and as I said, there was more than one. There was probably about 50 to 100 at one stage, but their frontages were kilometers long.
तो हम बात कर रहे थे अभी जो ऑस्ट्रेलिया में फायर हुई, आप लोग भी शायद न्यूज़ में काफ़ी देख रहे होंगे।
Yeah.
Were you there actually when it happened?
Yes, I was in Australia at the time, yes. One of my brothers lives in the Blue Mountains, which is famous around the world for the Three Sisters. It's a tourist destination from around the world, and when a fire gets into those mountains, it's devastating. 2 major fires in those mountains.
That's awful. So tell me something. What do you recommend us if we ever plan to go Australia?
Depends what you're into. If you're into the beach, I'd go to Queensland. If you're into nature, I'd go to New South Wales. I wouldn't go to Melbourne. Queensland, the top, the Great Barrier Reef, so you can go snorkeling, which I'd recommend to do because it's getting destroyed due to many reasons. Or I'd go to New South Wales for the beaches.
New South Wales.
Yes, beaches.
लिख के रख लो भाई।
Nature, like a lot of bushland. Yeah, that's where most of the fires were in New South Wales.
And what can you tell us about the wild camping? The wild camping. I've heard some of the places wild camping in Australia is illegal.
Wild camping, what camping?
Camping, wild.
Sleeping?
Yeah, sleeping in the woods.
No, it's not illegal. Some places you cannot light fires due to the danger. But it's not illegal.
But can you burn your stove?
You can take portable burners, but you have to be really careful. There's laws, so you have to clear a metre each side and take precautions.
Okay.
You have to be very, very careful in Australia, and also when you are moving the ground litter, there's lots of dangerous insects, spiders and snakes. So if you go camping, I'd recommend you do not do it by yourself. I don't know if you know Steve Irwin. He was a big crocodile hunter and he managed to die from nature in Australia. It's a very dangerous country, so I would not go there without someone that does not know first aid.
Right.
And shoes like we are wearing would not be suitable to go into the Australian wild.
So what do you recommend?
I'd recommend going camping. Oh, for sure. Fishing, if you like fishing, you'll definitely have a good time fishing in Australia. The water in Australia is pristine, it's beautiful. We are a proud nation and we're a young nation, so we've looked after our continent. It's very beautiful.
Nice.
As you said, you see whales. In September through to October, you see whales coming down the coast in New South Wales. You'll see dolphins. Definitely see koalas and kangaroos. So beautiful country.
I have a bucket list.
Yep.
To dive along with the great white sharks.
I wouldn't do that outside a cage. Crazy man.
But I've heard that you can do without it. I'm like, the sharks don't eat humans. It's just a misconception.
Sharks are an inquisitive creature, so they will go up and they will bump something, like a tyre, a person, or a seal. So if something reacts to the bump, that's when they will attack. But I've been swimming with grey nurse sharks, which is a very docile shark. That was fantastic.
But you can still swim with some sharks, if not great white sharks.
Well, the grey nurse sharks are 6 meters big anyway, so that was pretty scary.
6 meters, wow, 6 meters is quite काफी लंबा है.
Yeah.
ये तो रहा दोस्तों ऑस्ट्रेलिया के बारे में. Andrew, tell me something that what do you do or how long have you been out of your country?
I've been out of Australia on and off for 2 years. I first went to China for 3 months. I travelled around China. I was also there on an internship, so I was working and travelling. I managed to see the Great Wall. I'd recommend that. That's something that was built thousands of years ago. I managed to see the terracotta warriors in Xi'an and Beijing. I'd like to go back to China, but not in the current time. After China, I came to Vietnam on a holiday, and I've been here pretty much ever since.
Last 2 years?
Last 2 years, yes.
Okay. You've been to Philippines, I've heard.
I went to the Philippines for 4 holidays. Before this is probably 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been to the Philippines, I've also been to Fiji 20 years ago, and Timor.
Fiji is quite far.
Fiji's friendly people.
Very expensive to get there.
Not for Australians because
For you it's very close. For us, Fiji बहुत दूर है. खैर आप लोगों को बता दो वीजा ऑन अराइवल्स हम लोगों के लिए है Fiji में.
There's a lot of Indians in Fiji. There's a lot of Indian economy. Yeah, very a lot actually. Yeah.
Okay.
They're actually taken over in Sudan, the central business district, and pushed the Fijians out. There's a lot of animosity there.
भारतीय हर जगह पर हैं, चाहे आप वियतनाम की बात कर लें. क्या बात करते हैं वियतनाम की? And you tell me something. What do you do in Vietnam, or how long have you been here?
I've been here for a year and a half. I've had a few jobs here and there, teaching English. So I've had probably 2 jobs, and then I move cities when it's time to move on, or I want to go and see something else.
And how do you manage your expenses while traveling? Is that the only way that you teach?
No, I don't need to teach. I teach because I enjoy teaching when the opportunity arises. I've actually taught for free in the last place I stayed at because I enjoyed something to do, and I enjoyed putting back into the community.
And what difference do you find from China to Vietnam?
when I was in China, I was adopted by 8 friendly ladies who I was working with, and they, not like that. No. They were all married, but they were very. I called one of them my mother, and
8
another one my
married.
sister.
Okay.
They were very nice to me, and they really looked after me. The Chinese people are very narrow visioned. They're very focused on their own lives. They don't want to have anything to do with anybody outside. The Vietnamese people I'll slow down. The Vietnamese people in comparison are friendly, welcoming, they're happy to say hello, they're happy to leave you alone if you don't want to socialise. They are very friendly people. The Vietnamese culture is very friendly and...
Okay, tell me something. I'm like in Vietnam, हम लोग जैसे यहाँ पर किसी को भी आते जाते आपने मेरे को देखा होगा वीडियोस में, किसी से भी हाय करना है, सिंचाओ करना है. So how do people react? I'm just talking about like here. I'm like, even if I'm just motorbiking, I just say Xin Chao and people react to that like in a friendly way. Is that same in China?
In China, no, they still ignore you. I learned a few phrases in China as well, and it was very hard to strike up a friendship, to talk to a stranger. Whereas here, if you say hello to someone, they'll say hello back. They will respond, and if you need, when I first come here, I was with a British gentleman, and his bike broke down several times, and not 5 minutes went past before somebody stopped and assisted us. Here in Vietnam, yeah.
In वियतनाम के लोग भाई साहब सच में बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छे हैं. ये इंसिडेंट जैसा ये भाई बता रहे हैं बाइक के बारे में, मेरे साथ भी काफ़ी कुछ हुआ है. Tell me something more. What do you most enjoy about Vietnam apart from like teaching gigs and all? What about food? What about culture? What about people?
The teaching can get a bit frustrating because it's something that's forced onto them, so they don't really want to learn English, but they have to. Maybe in 5 or 10 years' time, they'll realise that that's why they're learning it, so it might be a bit better off. But the food here is very healthy. It's mostly based on fresh vegetables, fresh salads, and the meat is very lean. They do cook it in a lot of oil, but you can get away from that.
Well, everything is meat.
Yeah, but everything is accompanied by salad. The majority of the food here is greens, and it's very, very healthy. The Vietnamese people, they lead a fairly healthy lifestyle.
मैं पिछले 8 महीने तकरीबन मेरे को हो गए हैं, मैं completely vegetarian हूँ. 6 महीने 8 महीने हो गए हैं, मैं completely vegetarian हूँ. ना अंडा है, ना मीट है, ना कुछ भी है. So sometimes it get really frustrating about me when I go out to find vegetarian food, and it's like only few sort of food, rice based that I can find.
Yeah. Well, they're slowly catching up with that, and the further you go away from big cities, the harder it would be.
But एक चीज़ है दोस्तों, आपको बता दूँ, वियतनाम में अगर आप चाहें तो ये भी काफ़ी अच्छा अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि यहाँ पर भारतीय रेस्टोरेंट्स को काफ़ी ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंस मिलता है. इंडियन फूड जो है यहाँ पे काफ़ी ज़्यादा खाया जाता है. What about health, fitness, yoga and stuff?
If you want to do it, the Vietnamese are slowly getting into fitness a lot. But if you want to do it, there's plenty of locations to do it. Sometimes the gyms are hidden away, but there's plenty of opportunities to find it. And if you ask somebody, they'll be able to point you in the right direction, like anything in Vietnam.
Okay. Give us top 3 things about Vietnam that you like the most.
The beautiful women. All the women here are beautiful. Okay. Number 1, the friendliness, the openness, the friendliness. Number 2, and number 3, the food. So number 1, the beautiful women. Number 2, the hospitality, and number 3 would be the food.
Wow.
Affordability. Number 4.
Affordability. That comes to my last question. How do you rate Vietnam as a country economically? If somebody is like coming with low budget, is it easy to survive? how much do you spend for say a month if I'm on a slightly budget?
I've met people who have backpacked before Corona, backpacked on a limited funds. Like I'm talking $10 a day accommodation and food. So you can really get away with doing that. Depends on, like, you could eat the same meal here for $2 or you could
Sorry,
eat
1500 रुपए में कंबोडिया वो वीडियो देख लेना. Yes.
Yes, so you could eat the same meal here for $2 or you could eat the same meal 50 metres down the road for $10. So it's really, you know, if you're willing to, or you could eat street food, it's what you're willing to do.
$1 में आपको फॉर्म मिल जाएगा, $1 में आपको काफ़ी कुछ मिल जाएगा, तो $1 मील आपको हर जगह अवेलेबल है वियतनाम में. Easy.
Yeah, it's very easy, and the food is delicious, and they'll do anything for you. The service, the table service here is, I haven't seen anything like this in the rest of the world.
Coffee.
Well, Vietnam exports coffee. it's an acquired taste bud.
मतलब ये आप कुछ भी अवॉइड कर सकते हो, वियतनाम में कॉफ़ी अवॉइड नहीं कर सकते हो. वियतनाम एक नंबर 1 मैन्युफैक्चरर और एक्सपोर्टर है आज की डेट में कॉफ़ी के लिए. तो दोस्तों ये थी हमारी छोटी सी बातचीत एंड्रू के साथ. हमारे साथ और भी लोग जुड़ेंगे इस चैनल पे. तब तक हम आप लोगों से मिलते हैं. Thank you so much, Andrew, for joining us.
It was a pleasure,
और
yeah.
ऑस्ट्रेलिया के टिप्स आप लोगों ने सुन ही ली है, लिख के रख लीजिए. क्वींसलैंड एंड
न्यू साउथ वेल्स.
Yeah. और भाई साहब हम आपके साथ और भी इंटरेस्टिंग वीडियो लेके आएंगे. हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिए. Ciao.
Bye-bye.